Weathering is the breakdown of rocks and minerals by physical and chemical processes. The rocks and minerals can then be moved by the processes of erosion. The main agents of erosion are wind, water, ice, and gravity. Erosion involves the movement of material, whereas weathering takes place with little or no movement. In addition, on the sides of river valleys, the processes of mass movement take place, transferring broken rock, minerals, soil, and vegetation downslope as a result of gravity. The weathering and mass movement processes act on the valley sides, usually making them less steep over time, as material is moved from the top of the slope to the bottom. However, the river itself erodes its own channel by wearing away the bed and banks, as well as possibly eroding the base of the valley side, making it steeper and perhaps leading to mass movement. Weathering can happen in many ways. Some common ones affecting river valleys are: number 1, freeze-thaw. This happens when rainwater enters cracks or gaps in a rock and then freezes if temperatures drop below 0 degrees Celsius. The water expands, it turns to ice, and this exerts pressure on the rock, causing it to break down into smaller pieces. Number 2, rainfall. This happens because rain is slightly acidic. If the air is polluted by factories and vehicles, it can become very acidic. When rain falls on rocks, the acid in it can react with weak minerals, causing them to dissolve and the rock to decay. Number 3, biological weathering. The roots of plants, especially trees, can grow into cracks in a rock and split the rock apart. There are several different processes of mass movement. In river valleys, 2 of the main forms of mass movement are: 1, soil creep, which is basically where individual particles of soil slowly move down slope under gravity and collect at the bottom of valley sides. The river can then erode this material over time. Number 2, slumping. This happens when the bottom of the valley side is eroded by the river. This makes the slope steeper and the valley side material can slide downwards in a rotational manner, often triggered by saturation due to rain, which both lubricates the rock and makes it much heavier. Geology influences river shape and sediment load in many different ways. Where a river flows over bands of resistant rocks, the valley sides tend to be steep, and the sediment load is small because erosion is slow. Where a river flows over bands of less resistant rocks, the valley sides tend to be the sediment load is larger because erosion is more rapid.